Canine Detection Collaborative, a detection dog training trio with Stacy Barnett.
Hi.
Robin Greubel.
Hey there.
And Crystal Wing.
What's up?
With humor and a big dose of theory, our trio talks practical training advice and features interviews with top trainers and scientists. It's Canine Detection Collaborative.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Canine Detection Collaborative. I'm Robin Greubel, and I'm here with my super fabulous co-hosts, Stacy Barnett.
Hello.
And Crystal Wing.
Hello, friend. I'm hiding in your laundry room currently. So
yes, we are back
in Iowa.
Back in Iowa, the home of wayward dog trainers. And Stacy stopped by earlier this month, being this month, the month of June. And this particular episode is kind of going to be a wrap up of the things that we have learned over the last couple of months, because we've had all sorts of busy things going on with, we had Muscatatuck, there was Canine SciCon that I ended up going to. Crystal made a trip to California. Stacy went to Colorado and did a summit. We've had a seminar. We've done all sorts of things in between, over and around and through the woods. So we were just going to talk about some of the kind of aha things that have been going on for us as trainers in our little worlds. And the fun thing for me, I'll start with, because there's been lots of aha moments, was actually Muscatatuck, where we had the Nosework handlers and the cadaver dog handlers working in the same groups doing stuff.
That was so cool.
It was amazing.
It really was. It was fun.
Yeah, it was amazing to watch what Nosework odors do, because you don't think about it. And plus, we had the ability to leave the odor sit out for 3 days. And then watch the dogs and hear in the background the comments about how the cadaver dog handlers were so appreciative of the fact that they were getting to watch the Nosework handlers, because the Nosework handlers were really, really good at calling things on change of behavior. And so, plus you guys got to search in a prison, a haunted prison. So, there is that.
Haunted, you say?
The prison was pretty cool. I think that honestly, though, the Shanty Village, that was like my favorite location.
Well, of course, that's where I was.
Wow, yeah, we have these amazing photos and everything, and because that's got like the Shanty Village, we're able to work like off leash, outdoors. There's a downed sea stallion helicopter, in the middle of it, and the odor, because of the size of the search area, the odor had a chance to really kind of travel, and we were able to really see when the dogs really got into odor, and those hides had been sitting for a while. So, and then talking to a couple of the other Nosework handlers who ran the hides on different days, how the wind was coming from different directions and how it presented differently in the Shanty Village was really kind of interesting. I love the fact that I've got 2 of my dogs on video doing that, and of course these really amazing photos.
Because Crystal was taking photos, and she's really good at it.
Exactly.
You guys are so kind.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you're so kind.
Really yeah. So Crystal got a picture of Prize catching a ball, and the foam in the back of Prize's mouth is in focus. I don't even know how to do that. It's pretty amazing.
I like the one of Nico in the school, where he was peeking his head out from way down the hall, and all you see is like his ears in the shadows, and he's like, "Mom, where are you? I've been barking at the thing forever." So
right.
It was such an adorable moment, because he was like, "Come on, idiot, hurry up," and then he just pokes his head out like, "Are you coming?"
and it was so fun for people, the play practice or play training that Crystal, you were doing at night, for people, and seeing. I only got to go to one because I was like dealing with all of the other stuff that goes along with organizing a seminar. and the aha moments for people that they had while watching somebody else play with their dog so that they could see how it changed how the dog reacted to them. That was fantastic.
I love doing that. It's so much fun for each person to kind of bring out whatever they want to work on, and we just riff on it right there in front of everybody. And so you never know what's going to come up, or what dog, or, what arousal, what drives. And it's just, I love that so much. If that could be like life every day, it was so fun. And I appreciated you giving me the opportunity to do the little play talk too. It definitely wasn't what I expected, because dinner was late that day. And so we were going to do like an outside thing, and it was going to be Radish doing her thing. And so I really had to like wing it as I went. And I was like, whatever. It seemed like people
you're
were
good at winging it.
Yeah. I mean, I was born into that name. So. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
I got it.
Yeah. Old joke.
Yeah, that's okay. It was interesting for me. I mean, Crystal, you just got back from basically a play fest.
Oh man, I'm
in
telling you.
California.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been pretty wild. I know, Stacy, you're traveling now, and we were kind of chatting on the way. But I just got back early this morning, so I'm a little on the low ebb side of, I was talking to Robin. It's like, even though this isn't my house, it's my wayward house. And so it almost felt like as soon as I got here, my whole body and my being just said, oh, it's time to relax.
Yeah. Do you want to share where you were?
Yeah. So I had an excellent opportunity to work with Denise Fenzi out at her ranch, the FDSA ranch. And it just so happened that we had a weekend off here at the Iowa farm. And so I talked to Robin, and I'm like, okay, I got 10 days. That's enough time to go play. And go play we did. So I originally was kind of thinking I was going to go to Washington and go play with Emily Lawrence, who we had interviewed earlier last year, I guess. And Joe Huxell, who was one of the instructors, and Dina as well. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to go, train with them in Washington. I could go do that because they invited me up. So let's do it. And I was chatting with Denise at the same time. And then it just happened that during this conversation, this texting conversation, I was like, my geography is not the best. Okay. So I was like, maybe I could go to Washington, and then I could go down and train with Denise for a little bit and then come on back. Well, it's 27 hours directly to Washington. And it was also 27 hours directly to California. And it was like 14 hours between the two. So I'm like, oh boy, that'd be like 2 days in Washington, a day of driving, and then 2 days in California, and then 3 days driving home. And I was just too much. So it was weird timing. But my friend Natalie in Minnesota said, hey, I want to go up and train in Washington next summer. This is as I'm having the conversation with Denise about maybe coming in and training with her. And I'm like, okay, done. So long story short, next morning, Denise had everything worked out. She had a seminar plan. She had, a couple days of private lessons planned, going to Flyball. I'm like, you are a force. So I think I inadvertently challenged her, because I said, I don't think we could get it together that fast. And I think I was like 3 hours later, she had everything figured out, all the spots filled, and it was happening. And I was going to California. And I was like with less than 2 weeks. So yeah, that was a really amazing experience to get to be her first instructor out at the ranch. And it was all about play and just having such a great time. I was so lucky that my good friend Susan Cleveland went with me, and we were just 27 hours of dog geeking there, and the same thing back. And so just those conversations was enough to just be amazing.
And I have to do a total timeout plug for Susan Cleveland, because she is amazing. She is the one who has the fluffy badger.
Yes.
With all of her, I believe.
Oh, she's the fluffy badger.
Yes. Yes.
I know. So now it's like she has fangirls, right? Because we're like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea.
All of that sort of stuff. So we'll include a link to the Fluffy Badger Etsy shop in the show notes. She makes these fantastic sweatshirts that have pockets in the back on them, so you can store your toys. They're lovely. And she does custom embroidery. They're very soft.
The climb covers are amazing.
Her leashes are awesome. Fantastic. Yeah. And she's also doing variations of the leash that I had designed for Quinn. Because when he was blind, it was like the leash it was also part of it was a ball attached to it. So then instead of pulling on the leash, because loose leash walking isn't the easiest thing to be consistent about. So he would pull on the ball and I could guide his face. And so now she makes variations of those with different toys and different lengths and different sizes. So, and then she's also got the slip lead thing that goes over the nose. It's so nice. So anyway, love Susan.
I totally didn't put two and two together. All I know is that Susan's coming down and going to drive with Crystal. And of course, I'm all like, who's Susan? Who is she? Is she safe? We trust her. And I got like all protective. And she's like, no. She's like, and then like it was cleared. And then I was good with it. And because I'm like, okay. I just want to make sure you're okay. And then I'm like, I felt like I really, really like her. And then, but now I know, I like doubly like her. And I'm like,
you only get to see her in passing.
Now
so
I get it.
As you were pulling into the farm, we were leaving the farm. And so it was just like a hi, goodbye. So you barely got to see her at all.
Oh, I know. I saw you for like 30 seconds. I mean,
at most.
And it's really funny. I get this weird phone call from Stacy who's like, I'm feeling really protective. Who is Susan?
Exactly.
Susan, hit the okay button. It's fine. Susan's good. So
it was really cool because she's like the flyball queen too. And so a lot of the people that had signed up for the play seminar and for the private spots were flyball people from Denise's team and another one. And so it was really cool to have the foundation that she was telling me about the sport. And then I got to go actually witness it. I had seen nationals at Purina Farm. It's intense. But it was, again, the thing that we really hit on was the idea that flyball and protection sports are so similar. There were so many similarities when it comes to the impulse control and the dogs, just being so driven for the thing and high arousal and high motivation. It was really fascinating to watch how all the foundations are very similar, and the play is what became so important for them, especially when it came to the targeting, because they come flying off the box and they have to want to come back and hit that. It's like restrained recalls to the max, with dogs flying by and lots of chaos. And so it felt like Mondioring. I was like, I feel like I'm at home. Minus multiple dogs flying back and forth with each other. That part, I don't have a Mondio, but otherwise so much of it's the same foundations. And so it was fascinating to see that. And it was also really fascinating to like the important, not just of targeting, but of just the play mechanics and of having those reinforcers for the dogs that want to come back so fast. And so I got to meet with a bunch of handlers from different sports like Mondioring, IGP, some Nosework people. And it was just so cool to get to be with a different group of people being out on the coast. And, I always think the Midwesterners are so polite and so nice. And holy cow, the community that Denise has already created at the ranch, everyone was just like potluck and helping each other. And I had random people I've never met come up and say, I'm so thankful to be here. Anything I can do, let me know. I know you're busy. And I'm like, whoa, hi.
That's nice.
Yeah. It just, everything about it. I'm kind of like living in a dream at this moment.
And you're tired.
So great.
Yeah. But I did see one thing that was so consistent, and this has been at the seminar here before I left, and then at Muscatatuck, and then it just consistency across the board. It's been give your dog a job. And I think that's been my biggest takeaway through all of these experiences is that we leave our dogs hanging so much. So we go and we talk to the person and the dog doesn't know what to do, and they're expending all this energy that they didn't need to expend. And then they're doing the thing, but they don't know when the thing is supposed to start and when it's supposed to stop. Like there's not clear communication for our dogs. Like, you're on now. This is the time you're doing your job. Right. And now we're done. Right. And now this is what you should be doing with your done time. And it would hit me in every single thing I saw, from the search and rescue at Muscatatuck, the Nosework, the play stuff, the flyball. That's my biggest takeaway from the last couple of weeks is have a clear start, have a clear finish, and have a clear expectation of what your dog is supposed to be doing. Like when your dog is out with you, have a job for them. You let them know what they're supposed to do. Even if the job is to be a dog and go sniff, tell them that. Let them off the hook.
Yeah. It was interesting. So Crystal, you said all of that, and Stacy, I was busy on a deployment, and you're calling me because you didn't know I was on a deployment. But talking about the summit and that you just did in Colorado, and the fact that you had Powder doing downstays.
Yep, in staging.
And I know you did really well at Summit, but you telling me that little piece, knowing Powder, I was super excited about that piece. The rest of it, I'm like, okay, it's Powder. We expect her to be amazing.
Oh, but I think that was actually the week before when she got her elite champion. That was before.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I also, because she got her elite champion on the weekend that you did the deployment, and then the next weekend we did the summit.
Ah, okay.
So she's had kind of this like really awesome run, but I put her because it was so hot. I'm like, Chicky, you can't expend all this energy and then go in. It's 91 degrees out. I want you to lay down on this cool grass. And I had her do downstays before her searches. Hey, she did find everything, and she got high in trial, and she was amazing. And I then in the summit, I did the same thing. I found that she had a harder time sustaining that on the last staging area, like when we got closer to searching. I don't know if maybe she got a little bit odor or not, but for most of it, I was able to get her into a downstay, and I did a lot of like transport type of techniques, really trying to get her from staging area to staging area, because we had to go through over a lot of slick floors and things like that. But she did a downstay.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah, proud of that piece too.
So, and this is one of the things that I think we talked about this maybe in the talent episode, is that often when people have dogs who do amazing things, the first question that always gets asked is, where did you get the dog? And the actual first question should be, how do you do your training?
But see, nobody asked me that about Yukon. They never asked where I got him. I don't know. So I don't know. I have that experience.
But you have that from some of your other dogs. Where'd you get that dog? Okay. And we all love Yukon. So Yukon's like our favorite little nephew.
Oh, can I share really fast a funny story about him?
Yes.
I get to California. We're having all these amazing stops along the way. We found these beautiful places to hike. We even found one that had gold, like all along the they call it a creek. It was like, this is a river, but whatever. Yeah. But there's like little flecks of gold everywhere. We're like, we should come back here, like one of those pan things. But anyway, we get to Petaluma, California, and Denise is showing us around. We haven't been there 20 minutes. And I have Radish and Yukon off leash. We're walking, and I'm like, this is so nice of him to stretch your legs out. Thank you so much. And she's just so kind. And then she's like, the deer and such. I'm like, I'm not worried about deer. I can call him off the deer. I'm talking maybe 3 minutes later, we come down this hill, and I'm like, is that a cat? It's like a black cat at the distance. And Yukon is nose to nose with this cat with this big fluffy tail. And I'm like, no, it's a skunk. So guess who has no recall off a skunk? That would be Yukon. So within the first 20 minutes of being at the ranch, and it's dark, it's, right at that time where like grocery stores are closing, and he gets skunked. And what does he do? He shakes his head and he's like, hey, friend. And he gets back in a play bow. And he's totally trying to make friends with this skunk still. And the skunk is like,
of course he is.
He's like, skunk off, and you kind of still like, hi, buddy. I don't know why you did that. We're friends. Friends don't do that. And so the skunk turns around again and squirts him again. And I'm in the distance like, no. And Susan immediately, if you get that dog wet, I am not riding home with you. I am renting a car or flying a plane, but I am not going to be in that van with you and that dog.
Good call, Susan.
So Susan and Denise are both going to the store, and they're trying to find anybody that has peroxide and baking. I forget which one, the one that you put in the refrigerator.
Baking soda.
Yeah, the baking soda.
And the Dawn. And so they get to the first place, and the baking soda is like so crusty and old. Like sadly, they go 2 places to get the 3 things. And they came back, and I'm thinking, oh, is this really going to be that magical? You guys, that's how you get rid of
It
skunk
does.
sauce.
It is actually because the Dawn strips all the oils.
Well, the peroxide, I put the whole thing of peroxide in the quarter cup of the baking soda, and then the Dawn just kind of, splashed in there. And I put that mixture on and let it sit it was about 10 minutes.
Right.
And it did amazing miracles. And so then I washed them again with the Dawn soap. Now the collar, that was, it'll need to go through the wash.
Several times. Maybe sit out in the sun.
Yeah, it's going to need some love. And I know not to get him wet still, because I know it can kind of reactivate some of it.
Yeah.
But holy cow. And it was so nice, people like reaching out saying, hey, try this or that. And there's like, skunk shampoos and things. So yeah, I learned a new skill of how to de-skunk my dog. And he still wanted to go out and find a skunk friend again. I'm like, Yukon, he's not your friend. You're not friends.
Something else we're doing this summer here is we're operating seminars more as a train the trainer seminar. And that it is a different teaching challenge than setting out a bunch of hides and just critiquing people on running hides. I'm enjoying it a lot. I think the students that are coming, I've gotten some really, really good feedback from my students. And it was so fun, Crystal, to watch because, I'm stuck in Iowa and you're out in California doing your whole California thing. And I'm like, oh, what fun to be a student, to go out and everybody knows that I'm doing hunting dog stuff. So like every Tuesdays I go work with somebody to do hunting dog stuff. And I am the student and it is lovely.
Yep.
I have to tell you though, that was something that I was just talking with. The next group of students have arrived here at the farm for the seminar tomorrow. And we all were kind of talking about how amazing it is to see instructors also as students. And so that's something I think that's been, and I was so impressed with how open Denise is to learning and being a student. And then we were able to collaborate and teach together in the second half of the play thing with the big group. And it's so much fun collaborating together and then being open. And she taught me so much about how to clean up my healing. And honestly, she really motivated me to think about Checkmate now that he has his second hip replacement is done. To really think about, he wants to do stuff and, competition isn't done for us. Like maybe this is the beginning of our competition. And I guess I just kind of marked that off as something that we couldn't do. And it was really motivational having her there saying, yeah, you should do this. So it's something I really appreciate is how open I would say all three of us are.
Yes.
In learning new things, but also learning from each other and learning from others. And not being like, I know all the things. And so it was refreshing too, to see Denise be in that same role and how much I appreciate that. And I think that's inspiring for our students too. And I think that last seminar, and we're kind of doing the same thing this time, is we're working our dogs before the seminar starts.
Yes.
And that modeling of it's important to work our dogs. It's important to show how we handle mistakes and also what it looks like at different stages for the finished dog and then the working dogs. And then to be able to discuss that. And then the seminar starts at 9. And then they kind of get that straight away of we're all open and learning, and it creates a nice environment.
That sounds great. I wish I was there. Oh my gosh. And here I am on Interstate 90 right now.
Yeah, you should have stopped. I before we started recording, I told Stacy she so totally should have tapped out and did the whole come to the home of wayward dog trainers and train dogs for a week and just like chillax.
And it's tough though to decide, is it worth going to the trials or worth going to the training? I mean, it's that constant kind of, we all have to figure out what,
Had I thought about that, I might have made changes,
right.
Like the summit's non-negotiable. I mean, obviously that was going to happen, but on the way back.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, because one of the people I train with quite a bit who does the hunt test stuff, they have one test that they're doing and they run quite a few dogs, personal dogs. And so they told me the last time they were training, they're like, as of this next weekend, they're like, we are taking several months and we're training because the dogs, we just need the time to train and not always worrying about trialing or going out and doing that next thing. And this has been almost like the first week since before Muscatatuck that I felt like I've been even remotely able to breathe. And, you know, your brain just gets exhausted. And, you know, when you trial, you test or you certify on a continual basis, you might create problems in your training that keep cropping up and you can't fix them because you're trialing.
Right. Now I have to say, like, I mean, Summit is a 2-day trial, right?
Yeah, that's crazy scary.
I find, well, it's kind of a scary thing anyway. But I do a lot of reflection after the first day, and because we're able to video ourselves with a GoPro, I was able to make adjustments after the first day, and I had really positive response to those adjustments on the second day, which I thought was
that's awesome.
I actually like that about the 2 days. Yeah, because I mean, she's so a little bit of a spoiler alert. She was high in trial, and she won her very first Summit, and got her first try at Summit, and got her Summit title with high in trial. And that was a spoiler alert. I'm very, very proud of her.
I was going to say, you can't just really glaze by that. That's kind of a big deal.
It is actually a really big deal.
Well, and how is that a spoiler alert? Because it already happened. That's not really a spoiler.
I know. That's true. I mean, I'm really, I can't really glaze over it. Honestly, I'm still just kind of like walking on air. She's my third Summit title dog, and my 6th title. So it's a big deal for me. It's a big deal for her. And
right.
Yeah, it's huge. Actually, it's huge. So really excited. And but I did, like, on the first day, we made a couple of mistakes. One of them was just like a random mistake. I think there was probably, gum or something inside the teacher's desk. I heard other dogs also fall from the desk. So I'm like, I feel like okay with that. But I had one fall that was completely me, because I saw that she was working odor, and there I was in a speed search where we only had, I think, like 3 minutes to search like this grouping of like 4 classrooms or whatever it was. And she's searching, and she's clearly working underneath this cabinet. I call alert and I get a no, and I'm like, oh no, right? Because at Summit, every small mistake can cost you a title, because we were high in trial by a half a hide's worth of points.
Wow.
That's the value of one false alert. That's it. One false alert is what we won by. I got a no, and I'm like, oh crap, right? So then she goes, but I did not let her dismiss the odor pool. I jumped the gun. She goes immediately from there, because then at the Summit level, you can continue after a fall. You can't continue indefinitely. You can only garner a certain number of falses, and then they tell you to leave. But so she went from there, moved right over to the hinge of the door right next to it, and alert. I call alert, and I get a yes. And I realized that, I mean, this all happened. I was toward the end of the run order. The door to the search area had been opening and closing for like a ton of dogs before me, and all that odor off of that hinge was being pulled under that cabinet. And I realized upon reflection after the first day of trialing that my dog will dismiss an odor pool if I allow her, right? And this is where, you really have to know your dog, and you have to know what your dog's strengths are, what your dog's weaknesses are. This is a strength that Powder has. She will dismiss an odor pool. So fast forward to the next day, we're in our final search. We're in the music room. We know there are 3 hides in the music room. I think we had 3.5 minutes. And she goes up. I can't remember if she had already found the first hide. Well, she goes up, and she's working this area. There's all this like crap just pulled into the center. And I let her just kind of settle a little bit before I call alert. I got a yes. And she ended up over on there was like a bank of lockers, but it wasn't like school lockers where they're kind of solid looking. It was more like, it almost looked like a bank of like dog crates, right? Because it just had powder coated wire.
Powder coated.
Do you get it? Yeah, powder coated. So I couldn't tell if she was in trapped odor over there, because all that odor, it could have been a huge trapped area. Or if there was maybe, on one of the padlocks or something, and I just let her work it and she left it. I'm like, all right, it's an odor pool, right? I heard later on that dogs had false from that. Then she goes and she picks up the other two hides. I call finish, and she won the search.
Nice.
And it was, we won her very last search. It was kind of cool. But the fact that, being able to kind of learn and reflect is so important. And if you do that, even if you do it the day, like in a summit, I can do it kind of in the middle of the trial. Or if, you're trialing, that's that benefit of being able to step back and train, right? Where you really kind of reflect on things that maybe didn't go as well. Because a lot of times we're like, oh, I don't want to see that video, or I don't know how to video, or something like that. I hear that a lot. I'm like, you got to have something, right? Because our memory is not going to be good enough.
Right.
Our memory is not good enough.
Well, and you're talking about the things that you learned during that. And, I was thinking of Flair's certification, which I can't remember if I told this. We struggled, like struggle bus. And
oh, yeah.
Right. And it actually just kind of got to the point where I took her. I had a general idea based on body behavior and all sorts of things on where odor actually was, but she wasn't committing. And I had plenty of time, because ours are timed, but it's not like yours.
Yeah.
And so we went and stood against the back wall.
Yep.
And it was literally, I tell people a lot of times in their training that sometimes mommy just needs a moment.
Yep. Yep.
And I needed a moment to take a deep breath. I let Flair take a deep breath, and I took her off lead and I said, go find it. And she's like, yep. Okay. Got it. And I was like, why could we not have done that 3 minutes ago? So it's and you learn a lot. You learn a lot from trials. You learn a lot from certifications.
Yeah.
And because I know Stacy, we'd been talking.
If you reflect, you only learn it if you reflect, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you also learn a lot if you take the time to reflect, even when you pass or you have a really good run, you will still find a hole. And finding, and they're not good, they're bad, they're just a thing.
Yep. Yep.
That's what I have to think about. I was so focused on with holes, I had to fix things. And as soon as I changed my mindset to now, cool, I found a new thing I get to teach. That was a big one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at like powder, for instance. I think I messaged you guys, like, I'm so excited. I know where our training holes are. And it's like, she just won a summit and I have training holes. Like, that's exciting. It's exciting because she's doing so well. And I have stuff that I know I can work on that's just going to make her better, right? It's just an opportunity,
Well, and you know what? You could say that you have the same holes or similar holes in different dogs.
Yes.
But because they're different dogs, you have to think of different ways to teach that particular concept.
Right.
So it's always interesting. And, and I work with quite a few people who are outside of, I'm doing coaching with some people, and they're not necessarily detection dog handlers or trainers. And it comes down to, it's still the same concepts.
Yeah.
Just we might need to think a little bit outside the box on how you want to put it all together.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like when I was talking to you, like right before when I stopped off for that short 24 hours, right?
Right.
And we were talking about it. I said, prize is extremely dedicated to odor, but she's also very pressure sensitive. And although like when she does something once, she's like, yes, I can do it. But sometimes she's a little like, can I, physically, meaning physically with her environment. And you had me teach her how to do a flat ladder, right?
Yes.
And it's not like she's going to need that for nose work, but you know what? She had a blast, and she got a chance to really gain some confidence using her body. And I think even though it's not something that she needs specifically for what I do with her, it's going to be extremely valuable. And honestly, it was a whole lot of fun.
And working with my interns this summer has been super fantastic. And I want to give a huge shout out to them because my world is incredibly chaotic. And, it's always fun when one of your interns shows up and the first thing she has to help you do is sort cows. Bless her little heart. And so 85 cows later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The hunting dog skills.
Yeah.
That, I was working on some stuff in the garage with, spin to the left, spin to the right, some of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Hold. All of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh. I want to teach my dog to do that because I see these 5 different applications. How do I teach a hold? I'm like, well, Joe Lawrence has this fabulous book and these podcasts and, and here's a couple of other, how do you teach a drop? Go out and do, we have all these options for drops. We're more worried about in than out with these guys, but it's seeing all of those cross functional skills that is actually really important. And I know, Stacy, you and I talk about this because we don't have the wonderful concept of joy that Crystal does sometimes.
Trying.
Yeah, we're trying. Crystal, you do a really good job of teaching us how to be grateful. But
no idea about that. That's cool.
Yeah, but the learning something new and back to being a student.
Yeah.
And, that new skill that you get to teach your dog, that your dog's like, you meant this. Yeah, I did mean that. It's really not that hard. And prize learning the ladder and then watching her like start going, oh, I just have to do this thing. And then she'd go faster and faster and faster. And I'm like, oh my God, you're scary.
So excited.
Yeah.
And actually I want to, when I come back out to Iowa, I want to first kind of do a refresher on that. And I want to try to see if we can take it kind of the next progression.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's really good for her. I think it's really, really good for her. I could see the look of concentration on her face, and she was so proud of herself.
Yeah, and this is where I'm going to kind of butt in about play, because what you were doing was playing on the ladder. And
correct.
It's tinkering. Anytime you're tinkering around and you're kind of playing, what that takes is the right amount of arousal. So when we think about that, it can't be that the dog or the human is really amped up. Play in its best form is about learning, and it's about understanding how your body works, about how you can manipulate the environment and work within the environment. And that's such a beautiful example of both of you enjoying some tinkering and playing around with something. And it doesn't have the competitive edge. And I think sometimes when people think about play, they think about sports and competition. And yes, you can be playful in that. Like I can go out and play and have fun. But when you start getting into that uber competition mode, it's no longer in that same arousal state. And so there's that ultimate, like that perfect point where you can be thoughtful and you can focus and you can learn. And that is the best, in my opinion, and science. The best way to learn skills is to be in that kind of Yerkes Dodson, that whole curve thing, but to be right in that place that the arousal is right, that you can take in new information in a playful way. And so even if you're wanting to get into something competitive, the best way to do that is to still have that lower arousal, thoughtful, playful, tinkering attitude. And that's going to be the most impactful way to retain information and learn something new, and that kind of tinkering mindset. So when you're talking about kind of the gratitude, joyful kind of thing, I think it's because everything is a game. And when everything can become games and playful, it helps you learn things a lot faster too. And it feels good. Like, it just feels good to be playful.
It does feel good. It does feel good. It does feel good. I mean, I just stopped off at the Loves, right? With it, and I'm like, you know what? You guys need a little. They've been cooped up in these crates, right? And they had a little fenced-in area, and I took each one out one at a time, and I literally just played with each one. Although I have to revisit some of the targeting skills you were teaching me at Muscatatuck.
But even there, you said, I just played with them.
Yeah, we just played.
Take the jest
out.
Oh,
I played with them. I played with them.
Yeah, like we can just commit to saying.
It felt good.
It feels so good.
Yeah, it felt good for all of us.
And Crystal, I love the word tinkering.
Yeah.
I really appreciate, because I think about, some of the bird dog stuff that I'm doing. I'm tinkering with, I know the end behavior I need to get to. I know how everybody else does it. And here's me, I'm like, but I don't want to train necessarily all that particular way. So I'm going to tinker with some of how I can get there a little bit to see how much I can do with what my dogs already know in their repertoire.
And it puts us in that mindset of playfulness, which then puts the dog in the mindset of playfulness. And it seems like we just advance a lot faster that way, because we don't have that. We have a goal in mind, but it's not this is step one, this is step two, let's get there. It's fun to just tinker around a little bit and kind of loosen up and, okay, that was cute. Oh, I like what you did there. How can I use that?
So I was tinkering with walking fetch the other day, which I'm sure somebody who's a dog hunt test trainer has just had a cringe, or an angel died or something. I don't know. But or I played tug with one of my dogs that's doing bird dog work. Then a hunting angel died. But but that tinkering and just seeing the level of enjoyment and play that came out in the dogs, they're like, sure, I'm going to drag you halfway across the floor because you said fetch, and I'm going to grab the bumper or the flashlight that I laid on the floor. They were excited. It was fun.
Yeah, that's always I always find I make these big breakthroughs actually in my training when I love that word tinker. When it's just I know how everybody trains it, but I have an idea, and that's always kind of what I start out with, right? I have an idea, what if I did this? And it's always kind of the what if, what if I tried this, or what if I tried that? And when I do that, a lot of times sometimes I get a big breakthrough and just kind of the results of all of that,
Yeah. So, we might have to think about that for something.
And they, I think it was the Adam Hubner podcast. I'm trying to think of what it was called. But that's the one that I like to point people to. But it's, wow, my goodness. It's play, rewire your brain, something along those lines. I'll tag it in the show notes, but that's for sure. If you're interested in play at all, he put everything together all in one place. It is just an amazing episode.
Oh, wow.
And he talked about, I think at one point, that the NASA crew was hiring people that called themselves the tinkerers, the people that to just kind of tinker around with things. And so that's where it kind of stuck in my head. And I'm like, yeah, that. And I've always been that way. My dad's always been that way. We always find something and, we're always just kind of tinkering around in the garage together. We get an idea on something and I was like, yeah, let's see what we could do with that. I was trying to figure out ways to communicate to my dog that I want them to push, when they're doing the bite and protection sports, but I wanted to take it away separate from actually pushing on the decoy and create it as a conditioning thing, but also take the emotion out of it, because a lot of times when biting, on the leg, there's some emotion attached there. And I just want it to be just a factual thing of this is how you push. And so it's so much fun tinkering with that idea of how can we create that. And I had a lot of fun chatting with Susan about it. And then even just with her, I was kind of chatting about some other stuff, and she's drawing out all these designs and making all these leashes. And, it's so fun having these little ideas or questions we get. And instead of going and finding the answer that someone else has already done, it is nice to kind of challenge your brain to go, okay, how would I do that? And that's been a big takeaway that I think people have taught me, especially the last few weeks, of giving them the courage and just enough steps to get them to start it and then say, what would you do next?
Yes.
And I love seeing that little light bulb that goes, well, I would do this, because you know what? I've learned so much from asking those questions, because I know what I would do, but I genuinely want to know, what would you do? How do you think about it? Because we're all coming at it from different angles and different, and I'm talking like neurotypical dog versus, the dog that's struggling and trying to figure things out in a different way. And that's where I've learned a lot too. I mean, a good friend, Alyssa, we had a nice talk today about when you have the dog that doesn't learn things the same way as other dogs, you really do have to tinker with things. You can't just say, this is how you do it. Nope. Because they're going to tell you, that's not how I do it. I need you to teach me in a different way. Show me a different way. So yeah, that's been a big takeaway of mine.
Yeah. Look at us. Oh my gosh. We're running all over the country for the last 2 months.
Yeah, for real.
Yes.
Yeah. We're
For real. For real. I think I'm up to like over 5,000.
What about Miami?
Oh, Miami. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Miami was, so this is the canine psychon. So it's the Alfaction and Detection Conference that Dr. Lauren DeGrief and Craig Schultz put on. Concept came about from their book, Canines, the Original Biosensors. And they had an amazing set of speakers. The amount of networking, they sold out. It was, it's fantastic. Wow. FIU did a fantastic job hosting. It was very hot in Miami. And I sat through, we learned about everything from how dogs were doing electronics detection in the UK to cadaver dog work, to bomb dog odors, to narcotic stuff, all sorts of things about conservation work and the different kinds of hemp that you can train dogs off of marijuana to only, to train them off of hemp so they only do marijuana and all sorts of things. And the very exciting part is you can now purchase it on demand. And so they recorded the sessions that they could record. They couldn't record all of them because some of it was unpublished work. And so you can purchase, I think it's $250. You get access on demand to all of the talks that were given. So we'll include that in the show notes. And they did a raffle at the end of the day, one day, and we raised enough money so it helps pay for some graduate students to go to the next conference, which will be held in 2025. So it was amazing. I can't recommend it high enough, and people should go. And I still have to unpack my suitcase.
I'm definitely gonna be doing the on demand. Absolutely.
Yes, it was really good.
All that. Yeah.
I'm excited to, as an attendee, I get access because they ran 2 tracks. So now I can go watch all of the stuff that I missed. I had to sit in the other one.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah,
it's great. Lovely. That's so, great. So I still have to unpack my suitcase from that trip. So that tells you how busy.
It was just a little busy.
Just running around quite a bit. So yeah.
That's what I felt like. I felt like as soon as I got here, then I just didn't really unload much. And then I jumped right back in the van and then headed to California. And I'm kind of at the same thing. I'm going to be heading back home just in a few days. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. You're going to be here for what, a week? 2 weeks?
Yeah. No, I think less than a week. And then I go back home and then I go to my parents and then I come back here, but then I stay here until Distraction Camp 1 and 2 are done. And Sally Dickinson is done. Yeah. And I'm really hoping that Radish will be ready for, certification. She was beautiful today. Oh, that was so wonderful this morning. She just knocked my socks off.
Excellent. I need to go get Nico out and we need to go do a hide. So
I would love that. I'm all about it. We should go train dogs.
we
No,
should.
I'm so jealous.
You know what?
Dude, you could have stopped by.
You
This
coulda
is all on you.
stopped.
You're going to Massachusetts. I got to go to
You
Massachusetts.
guys didn't give me the idea. You didn't give me the idea. Oh,
So, okay.
bummer.
So, we have, July's coming up. And I know,
Yep.
Stacy, you're slowing down a little bit in July, aren't you?
I am, but
Good.
I know we're gonna get together before.
Right. Well, we're going to have distraction camp. And so we're going to do that at the end. And there are still a few spots left in distraction camp 2, which is that first full week of August. If you think you are interested, let any one of the 3 of us know, because that one's going to be a little bit harder than it's not harder, it's just different than distraction camp 1, but we have different challenges. And
it's different. Yes.
yeah, but it does build off of distraction camp 1. So we often recommend people do 1.
And then Stacy has a bunch of webinars coming up.
Yeah, Stacy, what you have
I do. I've got I'm going to be doing a back-to-back for Fenzi Dogs for Thursday the 29th, and it's going to be on different aspects of clearing search areas. So I'm really kind of, looking forward to that. Got some other stuff coming up, and busy.
And then I have the High Drive Dogs through Fenzi. That's a 1-day conference.
I
and
can't wait to listen to that one.
yeah. So anyone out there with High Drive dogs, then that's the place for you to be. And then we're going to have a panel discussion too. And it was kind of cool because when I saw how they kind of grouped it, they have all of us bitey gals together for the second panel. I'm like, oh yeah, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have a webinar coming up in August, but we have plenty of time to wait for that one to come out. So stay tuned. And so I think we're going to go train dogs and Stacy's going to drive safely.
Yeah, I got to go edit so many photos too. Oh my gosh.
Right. So we're going to go do that. So thanks everybody for listening. Check out the show notes for the plethora of stuff that we talk about. And we are so happy that you joined us. We will talk to you soon.
Canine Detection Collaborative. We appreciate the time you spend with us. If you liked this episode, not only should you follow us so you don't miss the next one, but please also rate and review us in your favorite podcast app. For info on collaborating with us, go to k9detectioncollaborative.com. That's K9detectioncollaborative.com, where you can find our socials and pick up our latest monthly freebie. Join us again to talk training in the next episode.